Hello everybody, welcome to Forging Flashpoint, where I create Halo Flashpoint and Dead Zone maps that are set in the Halo universe. Today we're looking at these three identical terrain crate pieces, and we're going to give them each a different Halo color scheme. And there's a few different ways you can purchase these. They all come in packs like this Gang Warzone box. Has a few similar pieces in there, some doors, some bridges, gives it that really nice Banished and human feel. The other one is in this landing zone box. You get a lot more clean pieces, less damage, and they're very similar to each other. I definitely recommend checking out their website. They have more boxes, more terrain that you can find a lot of similar pieces in. There's a bunch of different ways you can put them together. As you can see here, this, putting them on top of each other, flipping them like this looks very Forerunner, which we're going to be painting today with those angles that are going up and down. And then once you flip them around, they create this different pattern that kind of looks like an X that definitely feels banished. It's really cool how you can just change the angle of a piece and make it look different. First, what we're going to do is we're going to prime two of the pieces in this metallic Rust-Oleum color. That's going to be our base coat for everything because there's going to be more of that than anything else. Then one we're going to prime in this satin moss green. And this is going to be for the UNSC piece because it's mostly in green. And this is what they look like all primed. We got that nice moss green and the shiny metallic for the Forerunner and the Banished. And we're going to start by painting up this UNSC piece. I'm creating a map and I really want to use this color scheme for it. Unfortunately for Halo Infinite, they don't have a lot of UNSC structures. The ones that they do have are usually dark green with dark metallics and some yellow in it. If you've ever played Halo Wars, they add some brighter greens to their structures. We're going to use this. Alright, and the paint you're going to need is Lead Belcher, Warboss Green to add that extra green shade on there, Flesh Gets Yellow for the light, some Nuln Oil, and we're going to finish it off by sponging some Rune Fang Steel on there. And we're going to start off by painting all those recesses in the gunmetal. This gives us that look of some metallics below that green paint. Right here, you have to be really careful to get it right in those grooves. I noticed that if you water down the gunmetal quite a bit and you accidentally paint it on the green, you can easily wipe it off without having very much go through. Painted these little sections that connect the connectors together. You probably won't ever see them, but for the sake of the video, I wanted to fill them in just in case. Once again here, we're carefully painting inside these lines. It really makes a big difference adding these. And this is where we're going to add our Mob Boss green on some of these accent pieces. Really shows that other shade of green that the UNSC like to use in some of their structures. Just getting it all in these nice areas that kind of pop out. Kind of funny once you get that green on there how much this actually looks like Master Chief's armor, or a piece of Master Chief's armor. So it's coming out right, I think. And we're going to take out that Flesh Gets Yellow to paint in these little slits here for the lights. If you had an airbrush, you could definitely accent these, make them glow if you need to, but for simplicity's sake, this is what I'm doing. That Nuln Oil is coming into play here. We kind of just want to glob it all on there. At some point, I try to do a second coat before it dries, so just make sure it dries if you want to put a second coat. But it didn't quite get the effect I was looking for, but it looks all right. Once again, just be careful of getting it in the grooves there, but it's so watered down though that you can wipe it off if it gets on the green. We're going to take that Rune Fang Steel and just trim the outer edges with it to give it that kind of chip paint look just on the edges. I tried it on multiple parts and it didn't look that great. As you can see here, it almost blended in too much with the other metal parts. Didn't look bad, but didn't look great. I'd almost just stick with just the edges on the chip paint. Speaking of chip paint, we're going to take that Rune Fang Steel and dip it with a sponge, and we're going to sponge all around this little piece of terrain. This will definitely give it that chip paint feel. I think this looks a lot better than, highlighting the edges with it on some of the interior areas. And here's that finished terrain piece for the UNSC. I think it looks really solid. I think you have a whole board of this and it's going to look awesome. I painted up a second piece just to test it out even further with some dirt on there. It looks really good. If you want it grimier, you can put that Nuln oil everywhere. But Halo doesn't feel grimdark, to me. It has its own graphic style, and I think this works. And while we're looking at the inspiration for the Banished color scheme, I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. I created this channel to get more people into the hobby, get more people playing Halo Flashpoint. So if you want to play Halo Flashpoint and you want more people to play against, please like, please subscribe, please share it, give it a thumbs up. Because the more people that get into the hobby means there's more opponents to play against, there's more teammates for Firefight, more awesome people creating stellar maps and creative game types, and Mantic will continue to show its support for years to come. I know I'm in it for the long haul, and I hope you guys are in it with me. Thanks a ton for doing all that annoying YouTube stuff, but let's start our Banished color scheme, and it honestly couldn't be easier. All you need is some of that Mephiston red, and we'll get to painting. Just like that UNSC painting scheme, we want to paint that Mephiston red on all of the areas popping out on this piece. And the more and more I know about Mantic, the more and more I just feel like they're inspired by Halo all the time. Just looking at these terrain pieces, they just look so much like they're part of the Halo universe. When I saw these ones specifically, I initially thought Banished, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Make sure you get these little edges because they really make a difference in the authenticity of the color scheme. You don't want to leave any metal just chilling there. And you know what, I lied. We don't just need the red. We need this Croxagore scales, I think is how you call it. We want to put some lights on this structure. If you don't believe me, there are lights that are colored this way in Halo Infinite on these Banished outposts. And this is where we put some Nuln oil on there. Now, you could put some chip paint on there, but when I look at Zeta Halo and look at all these Banished outposts, they look pretty much brand new. Like they just dropped them down and they haven't seen any battle at all. But this Nuln oil will bring out some of those details. And there's the finished Banished piece. It's looking really good. It's honestly making me second guess wanting to make a UNSC map. But let's take a look at the Forerunner piece and see where we go from there. Say what you want about Halo Infinite, but I'm a longtime Halo fan since day one. And I gotta tell you, I really liked Halo Infinite, and the way that they did the Forerunner architecture, I think, is really good. They created this gold trim that makes the rooms feel a little bit more important and tells the story that way. We're going to use this in our color scheme here, but it looks really nice. Hopefully we can translate it onto the terrain piece. First, we're going to use the Croxagore scales again that we used on the Banish piece onto this one. We're going to put it right into those grooves there to give it kind of a glowy light effect. It doesn't quite achieve what I'm looking for, but for an easy, big board full of all this stuff, I think it's going to be really nice to just get that in there. And you can already see it's looking pretty Forerunner. If you ask me, that looks pretty dang good, so I think we're done. Okay, end of video. Just kidding, but you could stop right there if you wanted to. We're going to add a little bit more. We're going to put that gold in right now. And for this, we're going to use Liberator Gold. It's a little bit of a lighter gold, which is going to work perfect for the scheme that we're looking for. And you guessed it, just like the other two, we're going to paint the trim, but just that one piece. We don't want to go overboard. As you saw in the reference video, it's only on one strand on the metal, and we don't want to overdo it. Now, you may want to put 2 coats on there. That's what I did. But if you just want it nice and light gold on there, then just do the 1 coat. But that looks pretty good as is as well. So once again, you could just leave it at that. That looks very Forerunner. But I really want to add that kind of bluish glow that the Forerunner architecture has. And I can only achieve this by airbrushing. And we're going to airbrush at an angle right on that top corner, as you see here. Normally I would suggest don't do this inside, but it's going to be a quick and easy job. It's not going to be too much of an issue. You see some of that blue tinge going on there already. I should have stopped here, but I kept going and I made it pretty blue. But I'm just going to ship it that it's in a big glowing room with a bunch of blue lights going. And that's how it ended up. And I think it looked better before I airbrushed it, but let's take a look at all three of them. You have the UNSC, you have the Banished, and you have the Forerunner. These are three easy color schemes you can, make at home with your own terrain. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next video.